Hello, class, and welcome to Minilecture 7, where we're going to talk about, reflect on the implications for what we've been learning about vocabulary. We know that vocabulary is an integral part of our students' learning and success in reading and in content areas, math, social studies, science, all across the content for us in elementary, obviously. And so we want to think about how can we close that achievement gap. When you think about your students and the students in your class this year, what are the different levels, or if we think about the different homes? And if you look at this slide, and I'm not going to talk specifically, but when you look at that, there is a big difference from the words that students are hearing in a welfare home or a student or a home, where parents may not be working, to a professional home. How can you make a difference for the students from the lower class home where they may not be hearing a lot of words and a lot of vocabulary? And when we multiply that and look at the words a student or a child would hear in a week, a year, 4 years. Math is not my specialty, but I see a huge difference from 45 million words to 13 million words. And there will be a gap if we do not step in and think about making changes in how we teach and what we do. And so how can you motivate your students? How can you engage all of your students, but especially some of your students from those lower economically homes? And what can you do that will make a difference for each and every one of your students? When you read and think about slide 3 in providing opportunities for your students in wide opportunities and volume, making them accountable. Do you have a motivating program or incentive for your students to read outside of the house? Outside of the school, in their house, in their homes. And in school, do you give them lots of opportunities, wide reading and many different genres? Do you expose your students to those? Do you preview and pre-teach? Certainly in thinking some of our students who struggle with vocabulary and words, we definitely want to think about how can we preview the text ahead of time, give them opportunities, and pre-teach some words that might help them. And then in looking at some direct instruction for your students and with those multiple exposures to vocabulary. Not just in reading, but in writing, in listening, when you're reading aloud, when you're speaking as a teacher, using great vocabulary that your students might pick up from that indirect learning, and then get them or give them opportunities in speaking, in using the vocabulary. So think about that for your classroom. And then as we draw to a close our whole week 1 session, what are some of the things you learned? What's your reflection on the big ideas from session 1, which I've tried to give you some specific ideas, some strategies, some theory and research, a little bit of everything. And what are the implications? How can you make a difference? What can you do to close the achievement gap? Thank you very much and have a great rest of your week. And as you begin working on your last assignment, think about what will make a difference for your students. Thank you.